Behold, the mini flagship with a 4.3-inch display. Finally, a mini Android phone that does not cut corners. We've got an IP58 certified phone, can be submerged in water and is resistant to dust. Qualcomm Snadragon 800 SoC, quad-core Crate 400 CPU clocked at 2.2 GHz, and Adreno 330 GPU with 2 GB of RAM. This guy really doesn't cut corners. What I'm also digging about this device versus the Z1S or the Z1 is the display. Finally, we have an IPS display. No, this display is not 1080p, but it is 720p and it is actually quite sharp. With being 4.3 inches, you really aren't missing much. There really is quite a big difference in viewing angles between the Z1 and the Z1S, which when you turn to the side just even a little bit, you end up with color shifting and things end up just looking completely washed out. In terms of size, I had my iPhone 5S with me at the moment, and it really does compare very similarly to the iPhone 5S. It seems to be just a little bit thicker and also just a little bit wider as well. Right now and upon release in February, this guy is running 4.3 Android. It's going to be upgradable to KitKat. I don't know when that's going to be, but it will be. In terms of internal storage, you've got 16 gigabytes, but you also do have a micro SD card slot. On the top, we have a standard headphone jack. On the side, we have a micro SIM card slot and a micro SD card slot as well, some pogo pins. We've got a power button, volume rocker, and dedicated camera key, and our speakers and microphone on the bottom. A 20.7 megapixel camera with a single LED flash. We've got a 2 megapixel front-facing camera. The LED is also on the front. Now looking at some settings, we have X Reality for mobile. We also have a triluminous display here. We've got glove mode, and we've also got an interesting setting that allows you to change the white balance. You can make it favor more red, more green, or more blue, although I just like it to be just the standard as it was before. That seems to look best. I would really like to get this thing in hand and see what they've done with the calibration. Now looking a little bit at the camera interface, we've got some pretty cool stuff in here. To execute, just hold down that dedicated camera button key, which is really nice to have. Hold it down for a few seconds and that application will pop right up for you. As per usual, we have our superior auto mode, which I don't really like sometimes because it dumbs down the resolution to being 8 megapixels instead of 20.7. And there's not much you can do. If you want to take advantage of that full 20 megapixels, then go underneath the manual mode. We've got an interesting info eye setting, which kind of works like augmented reality. Just hold up the viewfinder to something you have interest in, and if it recognizes it, it will give you a little bit more information about what you're looking at. Just say it's a landmark or a brand or something. We've got Social Live, which broadcasts live through Facebook. We've got Time Burst Shift, which is just finding the best photo from a burst of images that were taken before and also after the shot that you took. But probably the most useless but adorable setting that I have ever seen is the AR effect setting. So basically you're able to scan the environment, just say like a flat surface, and you can set up a whole scenery around that. You have several different choices. It's actually quite easy to set up and I found it to be really enjoyable. I've got this little gnome garden here. It just brings your environment to life, and then you can also take a picture once you're satisfied. Ooh, butterflies. The Z1S also has this capability as well, and as a Sony rep showed me, you can actually move things around in the environment. He's moving the dinosaur around, he pokes at the volcano and it actually explodes. And then again, of course, once you're happy with how everything is arranged, you can take that shot. The only time I could continuously be entertained with this is if they continuously add new environments, so we'll see about that. You've got your picture effects settings, sweep, panorama, wiki places. We've got Sphere, which is a 360-degree panorama, kind of like Photosphere with Google. And then you've got Vintage 8mm, which lets you take vintage pictures and videos that mimic old 8mm cameras. Now, in terms of battery life, we have 2300 milliamp hours. That's not huge, so we'll have to see. With my very brief first impressions, my overall impression is win. I am going to buy this thing hands down when it comes out. I love the size. I love how it looks. I don't care if the bezels are a little bit thick. I'm happy that we finally have an IPS display. And yeah, there are a couple of adorable settings that I'm interested to see evolve.